Hey Plamo Nerds, I've got another nice review for you guys. Today we'll be looking at the Badger 105 Patriot, another popular model from Badger. Let's take a look. Alright, so this is the Badger 105 Patriot. It's a gravity feed airbrush. It's actually an older model than the Renegades by a few years. It comes in a nice plastic box, a little smaller than your Renegade box. But it's a smaller airbrush, so. And for a time, if you wanted a gravity feed airbrush by Badger, this is the model you wanted. Let's take a look inside. You get the airbrush, nicely polished. It's a bit yellowish chrome compared to the Renegade chrome here. Let's take a look at that side by side. So as you can see, the chrome is a whiter tone. But yeah, finish is pretty good. It comes with a plastic cup lid, which fits nice and snug, so that won't be falling off while you're painting. And you also get a spare nozzle. So let's take a look at the brush. Now, as you can see, it's also an open tip design. The needle protrudes by a few millimeters from the nozzle cap here. You get the standard cutout for pulling back the needle without risking air coming out of the front end, so you could just pull back on this. And a unique feature on this airbrush is actually this on the end here. As you can see, the end of the needle has a plastic, like a plastic ball on the end, and it's made this way. It's made this way because you can actually remove the needle without taking off the handle. So that's pretty neat. Should make cleaning the needle a lot easier. And the trigger itself is similar to what you get with the Renegades. It's coated with glide coat, which is supposed to make the trigger action smoother, and it is pretty smooth. You also get a tension adjust for the pullback action. So if it felt a little too springy for you, you could loosen that up. What it's missing though in the case is the 1/8 adapter. So you'll have to get an adapter for this, or you could get a quick disconnect, which is pretty much, I think, a standard size, so you could just use that if you have a quick disconnect hose. And let's open up the front end. Just pull back the needle here, and let me show you what I really like about this airbrush. Okay, loosen that front end, and the nozzle is also held in by compression, and it's pretty big, so I don't think I'll be losing this thing or damaging it. Don't have to thread it in, just drop it in there and it aligns by itself. The threads on this head assembly are also a bit beefier than what you'd see on the Renegade. So I'd say this would be a more beginner-friendly airbrush compared to, say, the Renegades. But of course, you'd still have to be careful with the exposed tip. And this is the needle with the blue end is actually what they call the fine needle, which is actually a 0.5 millimeter diameter needle. But you can get a super detail conversion kit, which gives you a 0.3, I think, 0.33, similar to what you get for the chrome. So, you know, if you wanted to get more detail, you could just switch out that option and get a finer line. So let's load it up with paint and see how it does. Okay, so I've loaded it up with some Mr. Color lacquer, thinned down to about 2.5 to 1 or 3 to 1 thinner to paint ratio. So as you can see, it's still pretty thick, but with the 0.5 needle nozzle combination, I don't think you have to thin your paint down too much, so it's not as sensitive to thinning as the chrome. So let's see how it does. Once you get the hang of the trigger, you can get a pretty fine line with it. You know, not that far from what I'm able to do with the chrome. Trigger is a bit more jumpy, I'd say. You know, you go from no paint to quite a bit of paint really quickly. So I might think about installing the high roller trigger on this to maybe reduce the sensitivity of the trigger. But yeah, you still get a pretty fine line, as you can see. Shading panel lines, no problem, from about an inch and a half here. Pretty good. And if you had to lay down a broad pattern, I know with the 0.5 head, it'll be done in no time. So that's why I actually got this airbrush, because you know there are some things you'd like to paint with a broader, with a larger head, you know, more viscous paints like primer, metallics. You definitely want a larger head size for that kind of paint. So yeah, really good. Atomization is really nice. You can see spraying for a while now, getting a bit of tip dry. But again, the advantage of this open tip design is that you can just wipe that off, no problem, and get back to work. Alright. Okay, so just to wrap up, the Badger Patriot 105 is a very versatile, very capable airbrush. It's probably the most general purpose airbrush among the Badger lineup. You can have the standard fine needle. You have an option for a medium needle, that's I think 0.7 millimeter, and there's the super detail configuration, which brings it down to 0.33 or 0.35. So yeah, overall this is a very versatile airbrush. For the price, it's a little cheaper than the Renegade Chrome, but of course you don't get the needle limiter feature on that. But other than that, they're pretty much in the same league, I'd say. And yeah, with a larger nozzle size, it's very easy to clean, very easy to take apart, and a really good airbrush for a first timer, I think, as long as you can be careful with the exposed tip. That's it. Thanks for watching.